I mean, I think this is a player. This is a contender. Because if you practice on this, you can play on anything. You can hook this bad boy up to any software piano, Keyscape, Piano Tech. You've seen my reviews on the software. So this feels great. But I will say this, as far as build quality goes, this is actually a 9 out of 10. Alright, so Donner sent me this keyboard, the DEP-20. So I did a review, I think, on the DEP-100. I can't remember, I have to go look at the link. But they told me that this one has a better sound engine, so I'm curious. I don't think it does, because I don't see how it could. It's a little bit cheaper than the other one, but they said, the team that developed it said it does. So I'm just going to check this out, see what the sound engine like is compared against that one, and then give you guys my thoughts. So here we go. This is what it looks like. So the last one I had was white, this one's black. I kind of like this black, it's nice and sleek. It's got built-in speakers. Now I didn't research this keyboard before they sent it to me, and I did that on purpose because I just wanted to kind of have an authentic reaction to it. So we got the keyboard, we got a keyboard stand, and then we have the user manual here. And then we've got the power adapter. Here we go. Power adapter, and then we have a sustain pedal. So you have everything that you need right out of the box, which is nice. You have the piano, the sustain pedal, the power adapter, and a music stand, which is pretty sweet. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and it's got speakers built into it. So what I'm gonna do is, before I actually plug it into my interface and get all fancy, we're just going to plug it right up and hear how the speakers sound. I will say though, I have been impressed with Donner's keyboards, the key beds. So this feels great. That is something that I actually care a lot about in budget keyboards, because every budget keyboard is gonna sound kind of rinky-dink just because it's a budget keyboard, but that's easily replaceable with Midi. And so obviously you guys know I love synthesizers and software pianos. And so as long as this thing has a USB, which it does right here on the back, you can see it. It's got Midi over USB. It also has a, so it's got USB, Midi over USB. And so as long as it has that, you can hook this bad boy up to any software piano, Keyscape, Piano Tech. You've seen my reviews on the software pianos. They sound phenomenal, and they're cheap. They're like $129. So this piano I think is like 300 bucks, I think. I'll look up the research and put it on the video, but it's like $300 piano. So if you put this with a $200 software piano, I mean, for 500 bucks, you have a stupid, ridiculous sounding studio setup. And this right here can just be your portable MIDI controller that also has speakers built in, so you can practice whenever you want to. And that's highly underrated. Like, when I just want to shed at night and I just want to, I can put this in my bedroom, it's boom. So anyways, enough talking. Let's get to the sounds. Okay, so this is the speakers going straight into my my shotgun mic. So this is like as raw as you can get as a raw sound before I plug it into my interface. Because obviously it's going to sound better than the interface, but I'm just curious, how does this translate on just the shotgun mic? But I will say this, as far as build quality goes, this is actually a 9 out of 10. I'm really impressed with the build quality of this keyboard. Like seriously, it feels great. It's sturdy. Yes, it's plastic, but the plastic is like nice and firm. It's got 2 headphone outputs or inputs. You've got double speakers. It's got built-in effects, MP3. You can play MP3 play. It's got built-in rhythms, transpose. Ugh, but it's got it for those that need it. We have demo for sounds. You can even record yourself. So far, I'm impressed. Let's see here. Okay, no effects on. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the sound.
So first thing off the bat, this thing sounds fine. I'm actually really impressed because, as I said earlier in the video, the lady told me, the rep said that this is a better sounding keyboard than the other one. I was like, but it's $200 cheaper. So how's that really possible? So apparently there's a different sound engine in here. She checked with the text and there's a different sound engine. So I do like this piano better. I feel like it's a lot more usable, and I feel like it competes really well with the Roland and the Yamaha at the same price. With that being said, let's kind of go over this, the main thing. So let's go start with the build quality. This thing is built really well. It is a little bit on the thicker side. I don't really mind that though. Some people do. I don't know the exact dimensions. Just listen on the website, but it is a little bit taller. That's what I mean by thick. It's a little bit taller. Not so much this way. It's really narrow this way, which is great. It's skinny, but like it's taller in terms of like the height. But that doesn't bother me. The plastic is sturdy, so obviously for $300 you expect plastic, but it's like well put together plastic. It's not cheap feeling, and it feels really hefty. It reminds me of my Moex 8 back when I had that, to be honest, and that's an $1,800 keyboard. So this is built really well. The chassis is built great. The built-in speakers, that's great. They get really loud. Relative for the size, so you won't have a problem hearing anything. I often practice with my sons. They actually use this keyboard, and I play guitar, and I can hear them over the amp, which is great. But yeah, I mean, the build quality is great, and the key bed is phenomenal. I think for $300, this is I mean, it's heavier, which I like. I tend to like heavier keyboards because I like the feel of a real grand piano, and real grand pianos are heavy. But I mean, you can run on it and everything. Like, I have no problem running, no problem getting around, facilitating the keyboard on the key bed. So kudos for that. And again, I like the extra weight, because if you practice on this, you can play on anything, and that's kind of the point. I like playing on heavier key beds because it's a real grand piano feel, and you can play on anything if you can master that. So I think this build quality for me gets a 9 out of 10. I can't rate longevity because I haven't had it for a long term. So, but as far as initial build quality, this is a 9 out of 10. No issues whatsoever. Okay, so I want to touch on a couple quick features. I do like that the panel is really simple to understand. I like the fact that you can have backing tracks. I practice with backing tracks all the time, so it's really cool that you can load that up to the USB in the back and do that. I like the fact that there's rhythms internally built in as well. Of course, they're nothing fancy, but it's just a fun way to keep time rather than using the metronome, because the metronome can be boring, but although it's very necessary. And speaking of that metronome, that's very easily accessible with the click of a button right there. You can even record yourself and play it back. So that's really cool if you want to practice hearing yourself, cut on the metronome, play something, and then hear it back, which is really cool. You can double the voices, which is nice. And then you can also adjust your tempo. You can do splits, and they even have reverb built in. So that's really cool. You got the reverb built in. So, you know, it's a very simple but effective layout and a very simple but effective keyboard, which I like. I mean, you're a beginner. Who this is for is for a beginner. You don't need a lot of options. You really just need a solid piano sound so you can sit down and focus and get better. And then as you get better, you can upgrade. Now, last thing is they do have headphones port right here, and I think you have two. Yeah, so you have two, which is really cool. So you and a friend or you and a teacher can sit down with headphones together and actually play. And that's huge because when you're just starting out, one of the biggest and most important things is just accessibility, just needing and being able to play whenever and wherever. So this thing is extremely light. You can pick this up, no problem. You got two headphone inputs, so you can play any time of the day with someone or any time of the night with someone. And of course, you have the backing tracks and the metronome and a couple effects. I mean, that's just a great package to start out. And again, a mandatory feature on all budget keyboards, you need to have Midi over USB, which this has on the back. And the reason why that's so important is because, like, I'm hooked up to my computer, and right now I'm using the stock sounds, but I can go ahead and hook this up to Keyscape, which is a phenomenal sounding piano sound, and instantly this budget piano becomes now an expensive Yamaha C7, and all I did was hook it up to a laptop. So rather than having to go out and upgrade and buy a different keyboard, you just simply hook this up to your computer. So this is a really, really great value so far. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and play this in context with the backing track, so you guys can hear what it sounds like. That thing sounds great. Just listening to that in the mix, it cuts well, it blends well. I'm pleasantly surprised. I actually recommend this keyboard as a beginner keyboard. The last one I thought wasn't bad, but I was largely basing that off the fact that it had the Midi USB out and that it was lightweight in a total package, but it was still $500. Whereas this one is $300, and now I'm like, okay, I've tried Williams. I've obviously played the Yamahas, and maybe I'll do a review of those as well. I don't like Roland piano sounds to this day. Roland's a great keyboard company, love their synth, but I still hate their digital piano sounds, and that's all the way up to the $3,000 Phantom. I just don't like them. They're just crispy sounding, and not in a good way. But for $300, this is definitely a player. It's definitely a contender. I liked it so much that I bought one for my kids. So this is my kids' piano, and we practice on this every day, and they love it, and it sounds great. And like I said, I'm able to play my guitar with my amp hooked up, and I can still hear myself, or they can still hear themselves, even though they're competing against the amp. So these speakers do really well. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. This is a great first keyboard, and you can hook this up to your Midi and get more sounds through your computer. It's got a solid key bed, albeit a bit on the heavy side, but if you're really trying to play piano, you need to be on weighted keys anyways, and they're only heavy as you start out, but once you get your technique down, it's not really heavy anymore. So Donna did a great job. I actually truly recommend this keyboard. So I'm going to post a link to it. I think they gave me a link, so I'll post that down below. And I'm not paid for this. So quick disclaimer, I'm not paid for this. They just wanted me to check it out. I'm not paid, no money exchanged hands. So this is just my honest opinion, and I highly recommend this keyboard if you're a beginner. It's a great alternative. I always recommend Yamahas. Yamahas are great. Casios aren't bad. Just check the key beds. Rolands aren't bad. I just don't like the sound, but that's a preference. But yeah, I think this is a player. This is a contender. So if someone got this over a Yamaha, I understand why. And on Amazon, it's got like 3,000 or 4,000 5-stars. So I'm not the only one who feels this way. So kudos to Donner. They did a good job on this keyboard. I think this is a much better value than the other one. It's a better sounding piano. It's more simple, which I like, and it feels more like specified to a piano player. It's $200 cheaper, and you get the sustain pedal, the power switch, and the music stand, 2 headphone jacks, MIDI over USB. You get a lot for $300. So I highly recommend this one as a first piano if you're looking for an alternative to a Yamaha. And I will catch you guys in the next video review.